would you say the difference is between the successful WD operators versus those that fizzle out? Because you said earlier, it's the how you do it versus the what you do.
I would say they are local to their laundromat, and they're involved in the wash, dry, fold, pickup and delivery process. And normally it starts with wash, dry, fold, and then it scales out. I think of guys like Charles, who's Charles Beasley, who's involved in it and then grows. I think if you're living in Texas and you want to start a pickup and delivery here in Nashville, that's going to be very tough. Those people fizzle out. Or if you're selling insurance and you've got 2 insurance agencies and you're a real estate investor and you have this wash, dry, fold, and you're just going to hire a staff member to handle it all, that fizzles out sometime because you're not involved. I think the more involved that the owner, you guys, the owner is always going to have more incentive than anyone else. Of course, I believe you can hire people and train them, but you've got to train them. And how do you train people on something that you've never done or don't know how to do? You can't do that. So I think the leader has to learn it, and then they can train it to somebody else, and then it becomes more passive. But
Yep. Yeah, Wash, Dry, Fold is a very hands-on business model, and it's important that you as the owner, operator, have a pretty high standard.
Yep.
And so the standard that you set, nobody else is going to set it higher. So if it's not high enough to meet your customers, your target customers' expectations, you will not last. If you are not connected with your community, those folks that you're serving, you will not last, because those relationships are vital. So you've got to provide excellent service, connect with the people in your community. And that's one thing that, our goal has been to scale our business model and to dominate our market. And we've just seen as casual observers that it's a little more difficult to achieve that goal, which may not be your goal, absolutely, with that type of business model, where it's important that you are physically present, where you have a pretty good feel of how things are going, and making sure that your staff members are executing upon the level of excellence that you have set.
And I think revenue solves everything. So you're going to have to be there from the start, and you're going to have to set the standard. But once you do that for a while, then you can put people in place, and then you're just holding people accountable. But you've got to set the standard. Mm-hmm. I think of Waleed, how he packages things and puts them out. If he trains somebody to do it and they miss the bar by just a bit, it's still a great product, because I know how high he set the bar. Does that make sense?
Yes.
First, thanks for sharing your insights on the business, and I'm sure your granddad will be very proud. Congrats, guys. Question I have is, do you have a feel on what percentage of your business is the self-serve customer versus the customer doing it for others?
Yeah, as far as numbers of customers, it would be, I'd say maybe 5% of our customer base come in and are doing other people's laundry on a weekly basis. But those 5% also spend more per average than our average customer. So
I like to say that 80% of our customers are repeat customers. They're using it over and over. 10% are transient, so they're coming into town and out of town or whatnot. And then 5% are their washers broke down, or it's, my wife headed there to do the comforters, somewhere in there. The 80%'s the bulk of it, the repeat customers. But that 5% they're great customers.
Mm-hmm.
I have 2 questions. First one, just out of curiosity, you said you have attendance from 8 to 5. What are your operating hours of your stores?
Our stores open at 6 a.m. through an automatic door lock, mag lock, and they close at midnight. So our last wash is at 11, and the doors close at midnight.
Okay.
And I can go ahead. I was just going to say, we've got a staff member who goes around. We break it down in the regions, so he works from 5 p.m. to 2 a.m., and he goes around to multiple locations. Then he's got a route, basically, speaking of logistics, so he's got a route. And from midnight to 2 a.m., he's just making sure all those mag locks work and that people are out of the store. So that's what he does. The reason we have the mag locks isn't to lock at night. He could lock with a key. The reason you have the mag locks is because you cannot get anybody to show up at 6 a.m. 365 days a year and unlock it. So the reason we have the mag locks is so it unlocks on time.
Nobody's waiting in the parking lot.
Yep.
The door's open.
Right. My second question is, you said that your philosophy is to facilitate commercial accounts. Do you do any marketing to commercial accounts? Do you solicit their business, or do they just find you and walk in?
Most of them find us. We don't have any sort of online marketing campaign or physical marketing campaign like flyers or anything.
We have gone into hotels.
Yeah,
and
the only
whatnot.
thing is
I go
local
in.
hotels. Yep, we'll
They're-
give them a card, let them know we're a mile down the road if their system breaks down. And we do. We have people who come in, and I mean we had closed a store one time because there was a company in need of processing huge amounts of laundry, and we were able to accommodate them because we had multiple stores in that area. Just put a sign on the door and said closed for 1 week till their big tunnel washer could be repaired.
And also, you never say no. So when hurricanes come through, and we have those, sometimes I work with the Red Cross as well as Duke Energy. They bring in linemen by the hundreds, and in those linemen's contract, and this is something for y'all, if you're having a storm, find out, get involved with the Red Cross, get involved with a utility company. They literally will fly in or drive in thousands of linemen, and in these linemen's contracts is that the linens that they sleep on at these bunks that they put out have to be done every day. Their towels have to be done every day. So it's massive amounts of laundry. So I was able to become a vendor for them years ago. So when they have that, we do. So I'll flip and we'll do full service in those instances to help the community, to help these linemen.
Simply to
And-
facilitate all that laundry, which is unexpected and short term, to get
And the PR that you get from that, they love it. The bill that you send, Duke does not care because there's so few people that can handle the capacity. So our stores can handle the capacity. So we, they called me, I remember, and were like, do you have a box truck? I was over here renting a box truck. Yes, I have a box truck now. I know you are entrepreneurs. We figure it out.
Hustle it.
We don't say no, so we make things work.
All right. Oh, grill.
Hi, Luke. Hi, Lee. So just so you know, excuse me, I've had the pleasure of visiting with the Willifords. We did a free laundry day down there, and I know where the safe is in your house. So if you decide to stiff anyone, we know how to get to it. But very often what's missed in our industry is how important a mindset is. So for everybody in this audience, you should get into the Facebook page of Luke, the Willifords, and you see how they run their life, their business on a daily basis. It is game-changing on the mindset, the way they treat their customers, their attendants. But more importantly is, with your now third generation running over 40 laundromats, can you tell the audience, a lot of new people here, what advice would you have for someone just getting into the business to avoid? What was the critical mistakes, other than doing wash, dry, and fold for 1 year, that you could shed some light on?
Comes to mind to me is lying to yourself during the hiring process. So hiring's like dating. You're not going to fix the guy or the girl, and you're also not going to fix the guy or the girl. I am bad. I have a big heart, but it can be bad. So you're not going to change somebody. You're not going to take somebody from Craigslist and turn them into a worker. They're just going to be playing Fortnite. That's what they like to do. You're going to take somebody from Subway who's working 30 hours at Subway and then 20 hours somewhere else because Subway won't give her 30 hours and the other place, just two places give her 20 hours. You're going to tell them, I'm going to pay you 40 hours a week every week. So I just go to hiring, making sure you bring on the right team members. I think some simple things we forget, Grell, is I go into new stores and they've invested $1 million. And the attendants outside smoking, does not have a branded shirt on. I mean, bright shirts. You've spent $1 million on the equipment. Let's at least put our staff members in a bright shirt and make sure that we invest to find that friendly staff member. So whatever means to find that staff member, and you may be saying, well, what are the best places to find new staff? Well, the best place to find them is your existing customer base, because they know what a laundromat is. They normally have a good disposition, who knows what disposition means? That means you're great, you're happy with where you're at in life. They're not going to try to take your role. They're not trying to compete with you. But you can go to your laundromat on a Saturday or Sunday, and most likely you can meet someone who would love to have that role in hiring. Other mistakes, Lee, for a new person, what would you say?
Yeah, I would say place a high value on sweat equity. If
Yes.
you are just getting in, you need to do as much of it yourself as possible. We call it act broke, you know. Even if you got a whole bunch of money coming into this thing, don't act like that is going to sustain you, because those dollars will dwindle quickly, especially if you make some key mistakes. And another one is, for me, is do not over-equip your store if you're opening a laundromat. That just sets you up for a situation, especially if you don't grow as quickly as you anticipated, or maybe your distributor thought that you could, because what that does is it sets up a high fixed cost. You know, somebody's having to pay that note, and you don't want to get yourself in that situation.
One of the things,
Add equipment later on,
yeah.
once you've got, 5.5 turns a day.
if you're acquiring a store and you're new, man, everything doesn't have to be tore out. If it's a zombie, yes, Grail, it's got to be tore out. But some things can go a long ways, like you said, a little bit of sweat equity, and you can replace just a portion of the stores. Put some big washers at the front, put some big dryers, paint the building, clean it up, put a friendly staff member in there until you can afford to replace everything. If it's old, you've got to replace it. But I'm telling that person who doesn't want to bite off that big chunk, man, Leo, the other financing partner, they'll finance you just a few washers to start to get you going. Mm-hmm. They love to do that. And then they know they'll come back, and once you see it's successful and it's working, they'll be able to help you continuously. So start small and go from there.
Yep.
What we got, Mo?
What would you say is your increased self-service business because you don't do wash, dry, fold? Does that question make sense? Like here, I'll give you a real life example. We talked about this the other day. So I've got a store that does about $500,000 a year. 300,000 of that is self-service. 200,000 of that is wash, dry, fold. If we were to eliminate wash, dry, fold, where do you think we could take that self-service business to?
We'd have to know the demographics and whatnot. So we could definitely look at all of those things.
And I would say 100% of the revenue that you would lose through the full service could be filled with self-service laundry. If all you need are the demographics, especially if it's doing $300,000 a year already.
And that additional...
You just need the capacity. Yeah, you just need to free up the capacity to be able to do that.
That additional 200, if we could get half of that in self-serve, it might be the same amount of profit and a little bit less labor, a better lifestyle for you, Sam, possibly. Or you could grow that. I just find it interesting that we focus on, so we're buying a store. You just gave us an analogy. If I'm buying a store, we focus on growing, say, self-service is 70% and full service is 30%. Well, first thing we want to do is really focus on pickup and delivery, wash, dry, fold, growing that 30%. And I guess we assume as an industry that the self-service is fixed. And let me tell you something, it's not fixed. No. There are more customers out there than you think. So we just don't work at that. We don't market to that. I would say open your mind, and you can continue to grow both at the same time is the ultimate.
And we say that having experienced going into a new market where there are just zombie mats everywhere.
Everywhere.
I mean, I would never take my stuff into these stores. And these are the options that the self-service customer had in those markets. We come in, we completely renovate a store, and people start coming out of the woodwork. And then we do it in another part of the same town, another part of the same town, another part of the same town. And we have no idea where these people were doing their laundry before, because the market is not fixed, like Luke said.
Yep.
You just have to open your mind to, okay, there's X amount of people. Can these demographics support the capacity, the revenue that I have set as a goal for this location? And most likely it can.
I'll give you an analogy, like grocery stores do it all the time. You'll see a Harris Teeter and a Food Line pops up. Well, I know a buddy who works with Food Line. I said, how much did that Harris Teeter hurt y'all's business? He said, we went down like 10%. So let's say they were doing 10 million at this one, and now they're doing 9 million. This one's doing 9 million. The total's like up to 18 or 19 million. It's very similar percentage-wise in our business. There's just more business out there than we think. When we are branded, we are nice, when we are set up to handle what we market for. A lot of us market for all this business, but if it comes in, we aren't set up to properly handle it. If you open a Starbucks on the corner, it's going to do, people are going to drink more coffee in the area. I use that illustration all the time. It's not the same amount of coffee drinkers are just going to drink more coffee. No, the coffee drinkers are going to drink more coffee, and we're also going to create more coffee drinkers because we have a branded, nice facility that has really good coffee right there. The same with your business. If you can become branded, you can make it nice, you can market it properly. You're not
you can
just
repeat
gonna,
it in another side of town.
You're not just going to steal the laundromat from up the street's business like you think, and then we have it split. You're actually going to create new self-service customers when you have that nice facility.
Questions?
Luke and Lee, great presentation, great
Lee.
insights.
Thank you.
I just want to say first, appreciate it, but I'm not going to stop doing wash and fold. But great presentation. But to all seriousness, I heard you say people, processes, systems, and consistency. So would you really say it's really not about not doing wash and fold,
Yep.
but it's about not building a good business system in whatever we do in our industry?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we use those words a lot in our organization. And the scale that we've gotten to, those things matter bigly. It's just extremely important. If one small thing in one store is repeated 40 times, then you have a headache. Mm-hmm. We had it in our payment system. We had this inferior little piece, and we realized it was a piece of junk. And not only was it a piece of junk on our most used machine in our highest revenue store, it was on all of our equipment. And so we had to come in and create a better system, create a better product, put it in, and being able to utilize the right people within the right systems, we're able to scale the way that we have been able to because our business model is simple and it's repeatable, it's consistent, and that adds to, again, our goals that we talked about earlier, which works for us.
Yep. People, processes, we were talking earlier about making tickets. So we got a ticketing system, and I can send a message out to all of our staff. I plan a game plan for our guys every week so they know vaguely what we're trying to get done that week. Helps them anticipate what we've got going on. The more procedures, processes, planning that you can put together, expectations. You know, when you hire somebody, make sure that you set expectations for them and they have expectations of you. Make those things clear, and you can all work together to accomplish things. Anybody else?
All right, Bob? Joe?
Have you guys ever taken over a store with an existing wash, dry, fold? That
Oh,
you
yeah.
had
Oh,
to-
that's my favorite. Ooh.
that
I
you
love
had
to free up that real estate. Put a
that you
big
shut
washing
down?
machine up there.
No, seriously, yeah, go ahead.
We have acquired several stores.
Many.
Most of them are what's called a shotgun layout, you know, where you've got the dryers on the left and the washers on the right. And you go in, and
The
the
counter's
first
right here.
25 feet
Is the
are
counter for the
dedicated
person that's
to
sitting
counter
there.
space and storing, you know, wash, dry, fold customers' belongings.
Mm-hmm.
And so when Angela comes in, she has to walk 25 feet in this store, this particular store, to go to a change machine. So to me, that just adds unnecessary work for our primary customer. So what we love doing is coming in, acquiring the store, ripping out the shelves and the countertops, and extending our capacity with large capacity washers right there at the front, put some large capacity dryers across from them, and we never look back.
We've done 2 stores with the lady named Wanda who led Wash, Dry, Fold at 2 different stores. And Wanda, both instances, thought we were crazy.
Two women, yeah.
Truly thought we were crazy. one of the Wandas was stealing $1,000 a week from the owner.
Yes.
And she was, and the wash dry fold was right there in the middle. Long story short, we took out all of that day one. I literally removed the counter as soon as we sign. I'd start to remove the counter and we change all the locks. When we do these closings, we buy back the quarters. They always have a big basket of keys and they're telling me exactly how you hit this breaker in the morning. Wanda gets here, she does the wash dry fold. I promoted her. She doesn't do the cleaning of anything anymore. We got another guy that comes through and does the lint trap cleaning or whatnot. But it's similar all across the country. Do these things sound familiar? It's all across the country. But both times, one Wanda, obviously we got rid of pretty quick. The second Wanda now works for us. That was a different location. We took it out. She's like, what are these guys going to do? What are my wash dry fold customers going to do? And we showed her that we turned those into self-service customers.
And double the revenue of both the stores.
And we doubled the revenue at both stores.
Yep.
And one of those stores without changing one piece of equipment in the whole store. There was no piece of equipment changed there. We kept the existing 10-year-old equipment. We just fixed it all up.
So